only did they succeed Zelda Echoes of Wisdom released, speedrunners were eager to break it, and not only did they succeed in destroying it, but it might just be the most broken Zelda title in recent history. While the first speedruns clocked in at 5.5 hours, a glitch was soon discovered that resulted in a wrong warp, but there was a problem. Where the warp took you seemed to be random. If there's one thing speedrunners hate, it's RNG, and in today's video, we'll go over how a seemingly useless glitch led to over 4.5 hours of time save, so let's start with an overview of the first speedrun. Before the game became a broken mess of glitches and skips, which feels weird to say since this all happened in the span of 3 days, the route for completing the game was relatively straightforward. Your primary goal is to close rifts that have opened across Hyrule by completing dungeons and quests associated with them, with rifts being an integral part of the game as they contain the Still World, a bizarre and broken place where you need to use the game's main mechanic, Echoes, to progress. In total, there are 8 dungeons in Echoes of Wisdom if you're doing the main quest, and 3 optional dungeons if you partake in side quests, but the speedrun only goes into the main 8, which brings us to the first glitch that was found early on. Calling this a glitch may be a stretch, as the game certainly intends for you to use Echoes to complete challenges and clear obstacles, but the old bed is perhaps one of the most broken echoes in the game. If you need obstacles, but the old game certainly intends for you to use Echoes to complete challenges and clear obstacles, but the old bed is perhaps one of the most broken echoes in the game. If you need to clear a gap, it has you covered. If you need to clear a really big gap, just spawn more beds. If you need to climb a ledge, just use a bed. Want to skip ahead in an area? Use a bed. Need to complete a puzzle? Bed. Need some hearts restored? Just use a bed. It's easily the echo with the most utility and is used constantly throughout the speedrun. For most of the dungeons, speedrunners have to complete the entirety of them as there aren't many major content skips within them, but the Jabal Ruins are an exception, and the first skip starts with a bed. In normal gameplay, you're supposed to walk over this section of floor, fall down, and get into a chase sequence with an enemy. Upon completing this sequence, you'll arrive at the end of the hall you fell from, but this entire pitfall can be skipped by stacking beds one on top of another and jumping across the trap, saving about a minute and a half. That's only a small part of the dungeon, however, and throughout the rest, there aren't any key items to collect or mini-bosses to fight. All you really need to do is collect the boss key and then complete the proper rooms to advance to the boss. However, the boss door is in the second room of the dungeon. It's just out of reach because you need to raise the water level to get to it, but instead of doing this, players figured out that they can use an echo to get the entire way to the top. And do you have any guesses as to what it is? If you guessed the bed, you're on the right track, as it is used for the initial height gain. And while there were initial strategies that used water blocks to cheese Zelda up to the top, it's actually the crawl Kraltula Echo that is the star of this skip. When you spawn a Kraltula, you can interact with it to have it move a set distance where it carries you across any terrain it encounters and even up walls. By using a bed on the first floor of the dungeon, the height boost it gives is just enough for a Kraltula to get you to the second floor. And after grabbing the boss key, another Kraltula is used to ascend to the boss door, skipping about 75% of the dungeon. Aside from these skips, there were a few others, such as skipping the quest that brings you to Blossu by jumping over the trees, but the first any percent runs mostly just went to each of the 8 dungeons and defeated the bosses, for a total time of about 5.5 hours. This is a very long time for a speedrun, and it was off-putting to some players, with one of the early record holders, Smoody, saying that he hopes a major skip was found because a 5.5 hour run isn't something he has time to play consistently, and fortunately for him, later that same day, the first piece of that major skip would be found. But before we get into that, we need to talk about this video's sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant is where you learn by doing, with thousands of interactive lessons in math, data analysis, AI, and was quite straightforward. Looking at the Discord, In a Muffin Cup announced that they had found a way to keep control of Zelda while the map was opened, and the setup was quite straightforward. The first thing you needed to do was get close to a void out, which are trigger volumes that surround the game world to stop you from going off the map or getting to an area you shouldn't have access to yet. Next, you'll need to use an echo to spawn a sign, then target the sign and press A to read it just as you walk into the void out. Before you lose control of Zelda, you'll need to quickly open the echo menu, and if done correctly, you'll spawn back into the world with the echo menu active. If you then open the map, you'll still have control of Zelda, but the game will be in a state where it's both paused and unpaused, and you'll know if it was successful because the mini-map will be visible, which gives you some indication of where you are in the overworld. Once the glitch is active, you can't see what you're doing except by looking at the minimap, but it doesn't affect your ability to play the game, as you can still interact with most objects, geometry retains its collision, and enemies can still damage and kill you. You might think this doesn't sound exciting, but if you've been around the speedrunning scene for other games recently, you'd know that having control of your character when a menu is open can be a huge deal, as the Gen 4 remakes in Pokemon were broken by having menus stored on the screen, allowing players to skip to the end of the game. Players were immediately aware that this glitch could have huge implications for the speedrun, with Program Fairy discovering that it persisted through death just 2 hours after it was discovered, and In a Muffin Cup figured out that by opening the inventory menu while in storage, you can go to a shop and get infinite rupees by selling items and editing the amounts in the storage menu. While this trick was useful, it didn't break the game, as players were looking for a way to skip large amounts of content to...
Hold on, let me go and get some salt. This food does not have salt on it. Taylor, what's up, nerd? How you doing? Hello.
bring the length of the run down, and just 4 hours after map storage was discovered, Zelda speedrunner Gymnast 80
In pain from this weekend? Oh, I don't blame you. The throwing up and shit? Sounds like, from what you said, it sounds like you're feeling a bit better at least. Oh my god, bro. Okay, I want to show you what I'm looking at. Uh, Open up webcam, configure video, focus, all the way up. Check this shit out. Oh, let me see if this works. It doesn't even... Hold on. Or does it look like it's sprouted? Because it's a little tiny thing of weed. I don't know why it's like... I should be able to bring it a lot closer before it stops zooming in. Like, it should have a lot more of a focus. Hold on. Let me see if I can zoom in without losing... Like, it's just super fucking shiny. Has all the trichomes. But yeah, it's a little tiny nug with a hair on it. There's like hairs on it, but that one just kind of was just chilling. Uh, Autofocus. Smells super good. Why is it? Yeah. Oh, a little bit. Yeah, I'm not throwing up anymore. Well, that's good. I'm feeling pretty garbage. I woke up early today, and then I kind of just like forced myself to wake up because I felt like I wouldn't really be able to sleep anymore. I went to bed at like, I don't even remember, like 2 or 3. Just had oatmeal and a Slim Jim. Yeah, I'm trying to eat this. It's a sandwich with some salami and some like barbecue mustard shit and some sweet potatoes and an apple. And I got these apples. The Slim Jim would fuck up my stomach because like I get acid reflux really easily. 360 not. Oh, I don't know if you want to smoky mokey with me, but I'm assuming not.
6 posted this video. In Echoes of Wisdom, there's a warp mechanic that lets you fast travel to any warp point you've unlocked on the map. All you need to do is open the map, select the waypoint, and confirm the warp. Gymnast was messing around while he
Can't sleep, I have my toddler with me. Yeah, it's good not to smoke when you have your toddler with you. That's always a good thing to not do. Just a little bit. 360 Nosco, make it double, one ring, smoky mokey. Think I need to chillax on my hits of weed. I need to like put less weed in my bowls. Hold on, let me turn up my fan. Yeah. Sour apple. Really sour. Mm. It's made by the same person who made Persona. That's why it's like Persona. Ugh. Sorry, I'm trying not to throw up. Hmm. Hold on, let me throw this away. There's like a plate that I have and like some meat down here. Hold on. Okay. I had to take her out of the house because she was not listening to me. Damn. I mean, it's better than like I had. That reminded me of I went to my uncle's one time and like ran away from this house because my dad uh like freaked out at me because I didn't like do the dishes within a certain amount of time, and he like threatened me with violence and shit too because I kept talking back. And I ran away to my uncle's and I was like complaining to him about it. Well, not complaining, but telling him about it. And they're the type of person to be like, oh man, well, my dad did that to me and my mom did that to me, so like I don't see the issue when I'm doing it to my kid or whatever. Even though when they were kids, I'm sure they hated it too. Cause like their little their kid who's like walking on 2 feet and shit. I don't know how old they are like 5 or something. I don't know. They're like walking around and shit, and they told them not to do something or something, and then they did it anyway, and then they like smacked them really hard on the hands. Not really. I don't know if it was really hard, but they like smacked them on the hands like that. And they also did it to their butt too. It's just like I don't see myself really doing that if I had a kid. I don't know. I just hope there's like a different way to, like tell them not to do that. Having a human is scary because it's like they take in all the information that you give them, and then their like environment they're raised in and all that other shit. It's just like holy shit. She played with her cousin. Hell yeah. I just feel like some sort of positive reinforcement is better than negative reinforcement, but I don't know kids, so
had a map storage active and found that if you select a warp point, then bring up another instance of the map, the previous menu will stay active while you select a point with the cursor, and on confirming the warp, you're taken to a completely different location. Within 10 minutes, he tested the glitch further and found out two things. The only locations he could warp to were Seaside Village and Suthorn Ruins, and sometimes the wrong warp crashed the game. Players were quick to investigate this in more depth, with July being the first person to get a location other than Seaside or Suthorn.
Well, when they do something that could seriously harm them. Yeah. I mean, just in general, you know. Because it's not like they punch them in the face, but would still be off-putted by that. Like, it's not something I really agree with, is like smacking them in the hands, like the top of the hand or something like that, or smacking them in the butt or something. I'm just like,
Ruins, as they discovered that by selecting Goron City as a warp location, they were taken to Zora Cove. Not long after this, in the early morning hours of September 28th, Smoody discovered that if you warp into the Gerudo Sanctum dungeon, you can defeat the boss and complete the quest.
yeah, tapping their hands, like, you know, like physical contact so that they get the neurons and shit is fine, like, but like, I'm talking about they went like this and like that.
Skipping all of the cutscenes and content that lead up to it, which prove that skipping content didn't break the game or saw scenes in Gerudo Sanctum dungeon you can defeat. Of September 28th, Smoody discovered that if you warp into the Gerudo Sanctum dungeon, you can defeat the boss and complete the quest. Skipping all of the cutscenes and content that lead up to it, which prove that skipping content didn't break the game or softlock you in any way. The starting point for Smoody's warp was inside of the Still World version of Suthorn, and
That scared the fuck out of me. Oh my god. But I also think true gentle piercing is horseshit because it doesn't really work. I've tried. I see. Yeah, that's why I'm saying that I'm not really a parent, so I couldn't tell you.
Gymnast added that any wrong warp he tried to do while in the Stilled World.
So I do physical touch, never enough to actually hurt her. What do you mean by physical touch? Because when I'm saying like I'm talking about when they want to like say you're doing bad, like whatever the word's called, reprimand them for doing something bad. It's not like they're saying, "Hey, what's up?" and then they just keep walking and then they're just like smack or something. I'm just saying like, "Oh no, you're doing this. I told you to stop doing this." And then it's like bad and then they like, smack their ass or like they like stop them and then smack their ass or whatever. Yeah, I mean, like going into timeout and stuff is the thing, but that's why I'm saying instead of timeout, they're like having them usually touch her head, her focus is redirected. Yeah, I mean that's fine, but I'm saying instead of timeouts, they're like having their hand pull out and then they'll smack their hand, or they'll like and then smack their ass. Like they'll just be walking and be like, "Oh, what did you do this? No!" Like, or get that out of your mouth or something, or because I mean, if you go and like poke them, then yeah, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Because gentle parenting, I don't know what you're talking about with that. Because that seems like gentle. That seems like gentle parenting, like not smacking your kid's ass or their hand when they do something bad instead of timeouts. Like instead of that, you're just like, hey, and then you're like, go into timeout. That's like gentle parenting. I don't know what bad parenting would seem if that's not gentle. Gentle parenting is talking to a toddler like they're an adult. And then doing what? Like, like you just tell them to stop, and then if they don't stop, then you're like, I'm blocking you on Facebook or something. Sorry, I don't. My bad. I'm not trying. Uh, I'm not trying to be a like like an ass. I just don't know what that means. Like, do you talk to the like your? Does that mean like talking, not talking to your kids like oh but you or something? If she doesn't listen after I redirect her focus, I usually put her in timeout. I do not baby talk her. She's too old for that. Yeah. No, I mean, okay, gentle parenting is talking to a toddler like they're an adult. So I'm confused about that. Like, how does that's what I was asking. I wasn't talking about you talking to your kid. I was talking about like what that meant as a thingy because I'm confused by what you said. Where you sit down and talk about why what they're doing is bad. And then there's like and then the baby's just like goo goo gaga and you're just like no, stop that. And then it's just like so is the only sorry, I'm just super confused. So like you don't explain it to them when you just poke them, is that the only difference? Or like instead of putting them in timeout, you just tell them why they're doing is bad and then they just walk on their way. Like instead of like punishing them or something. Sorry, I'm trying to comprehend like the difference, you know what I mean? I do explain, but I don't think she understands. I have taken away stuff where she doesn't listen or she does and she ignores it. I do explain, but I don't think she understands. I have taken away stuff when she doesn't listen or she does and she ignores it. I mean, I think it just kind of builds up as a habit. It's hard to explain parenting, it's complex. I do all the normal parenting except spanking. Yeah, I feel you on that. Sorry, I was just talking more about not what you do, but what you were talking about with the gentle parenting thing. Because I didn't really. Oh crap, I snoozed it. Damn it. Hold on. Gentle parenting, kids don't really get punished at all. Okay. That's that okay, so that is because yeah, literally all I was asking was is the only difference is that they don't get time out when you tell them like what's going on. Okay. I don't really I don't really agree with that either. There has to be some sort of like negative reinforcement, but like it doesn't have to be physical. Like they have to know what's like, not okay. Otherwise, like if you just talk to them about it, you don't really fully comprehend words when you're younger. Yeah, you have to have consequences of some sort. Kind of like the dopamine, and because they still get dopamine when you just let them off. They're like, damn, like even if they're a kid, it's just like, breaking the habit because shit's habitual and stuff. Yeah, and you don't want like it's like, oh man, they got a fork and they're sticking it into the outlet. You know that it could fucking kill you, but they don't comprehend on the level that you do that it could kill you, and that how serious that is. So like being like, oh no, that could kill you. That's a thing, but like putting them in timeout, like it's just like holy shit, this is like actually probably something I should consider. And I mean, yeah, explaining it to them does get them to a degree, but like it builds up, it helps build up that habit too. So yeah, when I thought of gentle parenting, I thought of like you're not hitting your kids and you're just like being like, yo, I didn't think of gentle parenting as like you're not even putting them in timeout because that doesn't sound like gentle. Like, you know what I mean? Like the word gentle, I guess. Sounds like it would be like no repercussions for your actions parenting or something. I don't, I guess. Uh, I was in my I like had woke up this morning and I was thinking about when I was in music class and I saw those freaking kind of completely unrelated other than it being in school. But there was like this video, some certain like videos she'd put on, and one of them was like this like really not really experimental, but they'd have like crazy ass music videos, but it'd like actually just be performers or whatever. Like, there'd be like a light and someone playing the drums, and then it would be like all the way over there, a light would turn on and then be like and shit like that. It's crazy. Basically, general parents let them be in charge. I have ads. I was gonna say I feel like a nerd. I was just like talking to myself. But I was talking about how I saw this video, like I was just replaying in my mind when I woke up, completely unrelated to the conversation other than it being in school. But it was like this video or like movie of, I wouldn't say it's an experimental music videos or anything, but it was like crazy ass music videos of people playing music and stuff. Like, someone would be just chilling in one area and then like, or I mean it was just like a black screen and then one person playing here and then, it would go all, like the lights would go on to another person playing it and they'd be like in this piped room and just like crazy shit like that. It seemed really crazy and I completely forgot about it until this morning. But It was like it wasn't like cuts of anything. It was just like performance art almost. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, basically general parents let you let them be in charge. I have three. Yeah. I don't really see that as being a thing. To a degree. I mean, like eventually, like it's gotta kind of be like that, but at that age, I don't really think so. Because they're, especially since their brain is developing and shit. Yeah. Like I'm talking about when they're like an adult and shit. Like you're not gonna put them in timeout. For real, like I don't know, man. It seems really weird. It's like, as I said before, like talking to a baby, being like, "You're in timeout," and they're like, "Goo goo gaga," and it's just like, or not in timeout, but it's just like, you gooed three times instead of two. How dare you? And it's like you're not supposed to do that, and then the just like goo 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 gaga, and then she's like, "I'm gonna be blocking you on Facebook." I believe in some form of discipline. Yeah, I agree. I just don't think that physical is the best, but yeah, when I say physical, I'm not talking about like getting their attention and poking them. I'm talking about the actual discipline. Yeah, that's crazy though. I had no I like remembered like, kind of probably hearing about it, but I did not know it was called gentle parenting and shit. That's crazy.
to Gerudo's sanctum, and Gymnast added that any wrong warp he tried to do while in the stilled world sent him to Gerudo's sanctum, so there was something going on that nobody understood, which meant it was
I definitely agree with you. That's crazy.
time to call in the heavy hitters. A crack team of glitch hunters consisting of Ekokolot, July, Vilks, Cloud, Cairo64, and Mr. Cheese, yes, the same Mr. Cheese that was involved with the moon warp in Majora's Mask, all set to the task of figuring out what was going on with the wrong warp. As they began experimenting, they did find a few new warps, but
Hell yeah. I'm definitely down to watch if you stream. I'm just trying to gain energy so I can actually play video games and do stuff, because right now I'm dying.
one thing they kept running into was that the pool of wrong warp locations appeared to be relatively small, as no matter where they started the warp from in the overworld, they always ended up at the same 5 locations. Luckily, the game had been data mined and some of the glitch hunters started.
That was me all weekend. Real. That's like me almost every day. It's actually painful. Let me see if my lights are on at full. Feels like they aren't. Nope, they are. Fire bought me in a bag of EPs. If I wasn't a bit, I was in bath or throwing up. What are Epsom salt? And I used the entire bag. Oh shit. Not EPs. I've heard of it like being used because Connie uses it, but I've never seen like I've never experienced or know what it actually does.
looking at the variables involved with wrong warping, and an early theory was that Zelda's position may be the variable that determines where you warp to, as the game could be interpreting her position data as the warp target, so changing it might yield different results. However, this was quickly debunked through testing, with the wrong warp no closer to being understood, but the glitch hunters did make an important discovery. In the game's code, there are two arrays, one that stores the location for still world and dungeon waypoints, and another that stores overworld waypoints. When the game needs to warp you normally, it looks up some relevant information, then warps you to the appropriate target in the array. But when it came to wrong warping, the glitch hunters figured out that the game was reading garbage data. This is why so many attempts ended up in the same location no matter what steps players were taking. It was very difficult to get the game to send you somewhere other than these locations due to how it was reading the garbage data. But
Yeah, this video is talking about speed running. Like the speed run so far has been like 5 hours or 4 hours or some shit.
Discovered by Ballistics was about to change
wisdom
forever. While digging deeper into the game's code, Mr. Cheese observed 4 different outcomes from a wrong warp using the current method. Either you warp to a level with a valid location, you warp to the first location in memory if the level exists but the location doesn't, you crash if the level and location don't exist, or you don't warp if the garbage data isn't targeting a value in the array. This meant that it was indeed possible to wrong warp to any location in theory. It was just a matter of getting the garbage data.
Yeah, basically if you're on the edge of some shit and then you interact with a sign that you spawn and then pause and then try to warp, then you'll like do a wrong warp. And they're trying to fuck with that and use it to their advantage. And this is like, oh shit. And this guy right here is like, oh man, I think I'm finding out how the wrong warp works.
Warp to a level with a valid location, you warp to the first location in memory if the level exists but the location doesn't, you crash if the level and location don't exist, or you don't warp if the garbage data isn't targeting a value in the array. This meant that it was indeed possible to wrong warp to any location in theory. It was just a matter of getting the garbage data to point to the correct index value. But before this could be explored further, Ballistics posted that they hit a wrong warp location that hadn't been observed yet. It warped them from the overworld into Faron Temple, which is the first dungeon, but the interesting thing is that this was the first time this location had been reached, and it was all because of a new step that Ballistics was using that this new location was suddenly possible. It happens very fast, but during the wrong warp, Ballistics hovers over a location on the overworld map, then very quickly switches to the still world map as the map fades out to perform the warp, which has the game do something very interesting. Instead of warping to an overworld location, the game takes you to a still world location, and the reason was because with this method, the game wasn't using garbage data, but was taking the value of the location you hovered over in the overworld index and plugging it into the still world index. Under normal conditions, if you use outside of Goron City as your warp location, the game stores that into memory and warps you to it. But since Ballistics was switching the overworld map with the still world map using map storage, the game thought it should be using the still world array. So it takes the location value for outside Goron City and uses it in the still world array, which puts you into the Southern Ruins. This was incredible because not only did it mean that you could select warp targets outside of the 5 that seemed to be random, but that the warp was no longer using garbage data and you could get a consistent location every time. This opened up the entire game for wrong warping, and Onaku was the first to see what happened if you targeted the overworld location that corresponds to the final dungeon in the still world array. And to everyone's surprise, the warp worked. It seemed like the only thing standing between runners and the end of the game was the final boss. But there was one small problem. In a normal playthrough, you're joined by Link when you enter the final dungeon and progress together to reach the boss, but if you wrong warp into the dungeon, something unfortunate happens. When you enter the room with the double doors, Zelda and Link are supposed to split up, but if you wrong warp into the temple, Link never spawns in this room. This isn't a problem as you can continue as Zelda, but when you get to the room with the switch, things fall apart, as the game soft locks when you press it to open the doors if Link isn't in the room. This was a huge letdown, as speedrunners had just found a way to warp to the end of the game, only for it to have a soft lock. But fortunately, speedrunners are used to games trying to thwart their efforts to break them, and methods of picking the soft lock started being theorized. First, some events in the game's logic were identified that could be the culprits, as completing the requirements to pass these flags may break the soft lock, with Mr. Cheese theorizing that entering the dungeon normally instead of warping into it might satisfy the logic and make the dungeon completable. The problem with this solution, however, is that the dungeon's regular entrance isn't a spot you can wrong warp to, as you need to talk to Link after defeating some enemies to enter it properly. Players then theorized that clipping through the wall with the locked door could be another alternative, but no glitch had been found that achieved a wall clip, so the soft lock remained firmly shut. Things stalled here for about a day as players theorized and tried to find different ways of breaking the soft lock, and out of nowhere, Six Paths Panda uploaded a video that smashed the soft lock to pieces. If you pause the same frame you activate the switch and reload the save, you'll be brought back to the same room, except the doors leading to the next room will both be unlocked. And on proceeding, Link will be in the room with you, breaking the soft lock and letting you proceed to the final boss. This cut hours off the speedrun, with Onaga the first record the same day it was discovered with a 128. But it could go much lower for two reasons. The first is that map storage and the soft lock skip are both precise tricks that can have a high fail rate, so players sometimes reset constantly just to make them work. And the second is that since Zelda doesn't have any powerful echoes or upgrades, Link has to do most of the work in battle. Link's AI doesn't always take the actions that let him deal lots of damage, and sometimes he can do things that are detrimental to the run itself. So runners are at the mercy of what the AI feels like doing in the final fight, which can add a ton of variance. But the next day on October 1st, these problems wouldn't stop Gymnast when he set the first sub-hour time. Using this route, the record dropped to 50 minutes and 42 seconds, which was set by Onaku. But there was still one problem. Players had to complete a large portion of the early game before they could get to a location where they could set up a void out for map storage. So if something could be found that voided them out earlier, they could save even more time. And do you have any guesses as to how they did this? Of course, they used a bed to reach the void out at the top of the map and set the menu storage up that way, with it dropping another 8 to 10 minutes off the run, and
Holy shit.
having the current record of 36:53. But the story doesn't end here, as players in Japan found a way to use map storage to bring Link to the overworld, which means that even in Zelda's own game, you can still play as Link. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next exciting episode.
That's really funny. So you can play as Link in the overworld. You can't hit the not interested? Okay, I was gonna say. Mm-hmm. Man, Global Kids Next Door is never gonna happen. Uh,
Oh my god, you're dead. Oh my god. There's no way you got hit by that.
Well,
Post that on Twitter.
I went to go for a grab.
No, that's too unfortunate.
That would have been literally perfect.
Oh.
Bounce is really good for like his neutral B because I know when he has limit on.
Oh, that would have been a nice catch from Son of Rosalina.
Is this really a Final? This is Final Fantasy. Well, I don't even know. I've never played one. I was like, what is going on in the back?
Son of Rosalina, he went
that's
just a
not
little low.
enough. And
And
then
he
the
goes for the
disrespect.
BM.
What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Is that an actual thing? That was a great.
Yes, it's okay. Is it though? It's honestly, is at this point, is this just a misinput, or is he going for some like training mode combo that I? No. What are you doing? Are you? Why are you taunting? What is happening in this practice? We are machine. What is happening? Oh no! Oh shit! Wait, is he alive? Okay, no.
In abundance. Yeah, and throws the down smash out, but yeah, like we said, that bucket, a disaster, and it's full again, and the taunt comes out. When you're down 2-0, you're taunting, and
still pretty good. 20% off that forward air, pretty nice.
oh,
Is that dead? That's dead right there. He did not match at all. There was. For the fans, okay? For the fans.
hold on stream, ladies and gentlemen.
Vale, saltadísimo. Esto va a hacer todavía más daño. Bueno, con este por ciento representando por ¿por qué hablo? Básicamente, ¿por qué hablo? Bada ba boom pow.
Ahora mismo,
Por ciento.
oh là là, quel forceur. Quel forceur. Oh là là, pas mal, pas mal. Ah, il a pas de takedown, du coup, il s'est pris le gros smash. Oh, mais c'est fini! C'est fini! Mais qu'est-ce que c'est que cette game? Oh là là, il a cooké.
I think he said XXX, which is why did he do that? Because I've listened to a lot of Wakfu.
Oh là là, il a cooké. Mais qu'est-ce que c'est? Oh, mais c'est fini! C'est fini!
And then he's like the finish, and he's like the finish.
Mais qu'est-ce que c'est que cette game? Oh là là, il a cooké.
And he said why to do that, or what they did, or he did, and then like something crazy, I think. I don't know what the last part was fully.
À construire son comeback. Gluttony, il faut juste une dernière interaction. La touch, elle est attrapée. Gluttony doit survivre et trouver l'interaction neutralaire, pourquoi pas.
Oh, it was a grand final too.
Honnête, la moto, c'est carrément une toute. Une toute carrément dans sa tête. Il est dans sa tête.
Thunder Jolt, actually. Okay, covering high up. You only got a couple more of those before you start getting rested, so you definitely got to be careful.
Okay.
Oh!
Damn, that's crazy.
Oh, nah! It's up.
Look at H-Box, look at it!
Oh, it's up. It's up. Ain't no way.
Yo, there's 3 games left, bro. Why would you do this so early?
Oh.
He just tried to do F smash.
Yeah.
And which didn't work. For the
That's scary. That's scary. Come anvil. But he reads the air dodge. That's so clean. Gets him
Oh,
off
he,
stage.
he tries to spot dodge through the minecart, but he goes slowly. So
The minecart read him.
No way, bro! Are you fucking crazy? No, I think it's that, bro!
Danger of letting this lead go anywhere, but I like what Ling is doing right now. Maybe trying to lean a little bit on that RNG. Can I pull something else that can be a difference maker? A turnip would be sensational, but unfortunately, the shield gets cracked. The F put out, and that.
Batter up.
Yeah, that's it.
Again, you have a second shot. You get the waft, get the double kill.
Jesus
make a
Christ.
1v1 and win.
Uh-oh. And forward throw, okay.
Or yeah, forward throw.
Back air. How are you going to pressure the snake? You're not. Okay.
CQC the plumber.
Not that I... Oh, just run up and C4 him. Oh, no, don't do that.
Oh, he's teabagging.
Don't teabag him. That's
Oh.
rude. That's super rude. I'm not cheering for you if you're going to do that. That's super rude.
That is rude AF, but I'm here for it.
I like it when it's just like friends fucking around like that.
Il est pour les caméras. Mais il est complètement mort. Ok. Il est complètement mort.
I totally forgot Keyblade Man is in the game.
Oh, voilà. Il y a moyen que Bastion puisse faire une petite. Oh, j'ai rien dit. Voilà. J'ai rien dit. Mais il a fait ton de paquet. Comme ils disent, un Colombien libre.
Oh my god. Yeah, actually, oh, I like the idea of that forward smash, but gonna pay for that.
Oh my
How?
god, the footstool.
Did he actually footstool
I
him?
think he did.
Le reste, évidemment, le coup iconique du personnage, popularisé par Hungry Box notamment, mais voilà.
Ah oui, on n'en parle pas assez.
Ouais,
Ok, c'est la fin. C'est la fin.
Oh non, pourquoi? Pourquoi tu fais ça?
Il est gourmand.
Oh là là.
You get sucked into...
Where's the cock?
Ooh. We didn't see it, unfortunately. Maybe next one. I know. Where is it?
Just upbeat.
A little upbeat. A little bit.
Just one. It's command. Good night.
Whoa,
Oh, wait, no, no.
whoa,
Ooh, okay,
whoa,
okay,
whoa,
okay, okay.
whoa. That was sexy. A second one, pow. A third one, pow. A fourth one. It's not going to happen. We're going to get them down to... Oh! Oh! That's goat! That's goat! Oh, my day.
I don't know if they were supposed to have a crowd, but no one was cheering if they did. Punch and counter like a pro.
Whether you are new to the series or a veteran Budokaier, my goal here today is to I've packed it.
Oh, gee.
Alrighty, you can easily deflect most beam blast with perception. You don't even need to time it properly. Simply hold down perception and it'll deflect that bitch like a G. Slap it aside
Oh my
like
god,
Beerus
he's
slapping
frozen.
Bulma. After the charge. I mean, check this out. You see that symbol? The key charge is boosted immensely after the deflect. Check this out. Status buff that vastly improves deflecting with perception. It will give you a stat. One thing to note is that after deflecting with perception, it will give you a bought in the shop. Any characters, outfits, items, anything you bought in the shop, if you later unlock it through missions or whatever, the Zenny will 50,000. In case you don't already know, 10k damage is equal to 1 health bar. So if you got 5 bars of health, that is equal to 50,000 damage points. It's a good little tip to know for determining how strong an attack truly is. If you're dealing 20 to 25k damage, that's pretty damn good. Almost half the health of some characters. As I'm sure you've experienced when you get fully knocked back, you cannot recover. Incapacitating an enemy like this is obviously very useful, giving you plenty of time to charge up ki, plus is the perfect opportunity to follow up with a super attack. Well, I found a very quick combo you can easily perform to immobilize your enemy like this. So you start with a lift strike, up triangle, to kick them up in the air, followed by square, 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 for straight to regular attack combo. So lift strike, then all squares. That's it.
I
When the
remember
combo's
doing
complete,
this a
it'll
lot.
knock him down and the enemy will be immobilized, unable to recover, and boom, he crippled, he donezo. If you're high up in the air, they'll flop all the way down, giving you more than enough time to charge your ki, grab a
Some of these people aren't using the recover button.
snack, take a bathroom, a ki blast. I know it seems obvious. I mean, of course you want to use ki blast at medium to long range to interrupt the enemy from charging, pop a few annoying shots, prevent them from charging their ki and entering sparking mode. But also at close range. You can use a quick ki blast to stagger, just real quick in between melee combos, trick them open for just a moment, just big energy, slower compared to the regular ki charging speed. So, if you find yourself fighting underwater, don't waste your time trying to charge up. It's not efficient at all. These buttons.
Please help me.
So with this Dragon Burst, you hold the charge button and press dash to quickly fly around, right? Well, if you press these buttons without pointing your joystick in any direction, it'll just automatically rush straight towards the enemy that you're locked onto. X, and it'll instantly use a... This means you can double tap. Just double tap X, and it'll instantly use a dragon homing to dash right behind the enemy. When fighting against giants, it's good to know that a certain strength threshold of character can stagger giants. Now, I believe it's Super Saiyan 3, so any character Super Saiyan 3. See here, big silverback gorilla stagger giants with their attacks. As you can see here, big silverback gorilla Jiren is staggering with every strike. And even Kid Buu, he can stagger as well. But this android from the Cell Saga takes a few more punches to get that stagger going. So it's a certain strength threshold of Super Saiyan 3 and above. And by the way, the best way to fight against giant characters is to get behind them, use a charged smash attack to send them flying, and use Super Beam Blast. Now, I've seen some people try and play androids defensively. They think that defense is the best strategy for androids because they charge ki over time. But nah, shun, androids gotta be aggressive. Look at the speed at which a normal character builds up ki through melee attacks. Now check how quickly the android builds up ki through melee combos. This is where the androids excel compared to other character types. So don't be hiding out defensively. You gotta be on that ass like a wipe out all your ki, regardless of. If you use your ultimate, it'll wipe out all your ki, regardless of whether you immediately used the ultimate or if you wait until the last second. The end result is still the same. So, even though your first wait just a little bit, Sparking Mode offers a wide range of powerful benefits, and to truly take advantage of its strength, you'll want to use it strategically. The best approach is to focus on dealing as much
Really? No.
Quick settings tips. So firstly, turn motion blur and camera shake to low. Not necessarily all the way off, but definitely lower. This is a fighting game after all, and you need to clearly perceive everything going on. Now, I highly recommend you get comfortable with the new standard controls, not the classics. I mean, bro, there's a reason they implemented a new control scheme, and it's so that you can use the new revenge counters and, most importantly, perception much easier and smoother. However, if you're stubborn and you must use class, then the class will blast two types of beam blast. First, piercing blast, like Kamehameha. This will blast right through buildings and the environment. Then, non-piercing blast, such as death beam. These can indeed destroy buildings and the environment, but it will not pierce through them. So if your enemy is...
I'm about to go live. Okay, nerd, much love. I'm gonna open up your Steam. So once it... Oh. I'll be able to see when you go live.
hiding behind buildings like a fucking turtle, and you know your super attack has this piercing effect, you can blast right through the building and blow his cheeks off. So the next segment I'll be diving into is melee combos. I start off with basic stuff and get progressively more advanced as I go on. So you want to juggle or, continue your combo string for as long as possible. A general rule of thumb, the best position to be in to do this is attacking their back. You always want to be behind them, clapping that booty. Now, a good way to position yourself behind an enemy is with a quick vanish. You can press the guard button mid-combo and teleport behind the enemy. However, be aware, of course, the enemy can use that opportunity to counter with his own vanish and evade your attack. So use that cautiously and sparingly. With high-level gameplay, they will definitely be countering that. So only use it when you feel the need to switch things up and change your position. Now, there are two strategies for performing combo strings. Firstly, and the more universal strategy, are the rush chains. See, if you perform a rush chain attack, which is when you integrate triangle into your combo, like these right here, if you perform a rush chain twice within the same combo, it'll knock the enemy away. And you don't want this, obviously. You want to keep him right in front of you so you can carry on ripping his face off with more melee attacks. So what you want to do is combine different rush chains with each other. So square triangle, square square triangle, square 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 triangle, you get the idea. And one of the best ways to finish a combo off is with a lift strike. I love this uppercut kick move, man. It launches him up in the air, you can extend your combo a little bit, and from there you can knock him away or perform a super attack, whatever. So if you're feeling like you need to end the combo, go ahead and use a lift strike as a finisher move. So the first strategy is rush chains, and the second is smash attacks. This is where you hold square. So you hold square up, down, left, right, in any direction. And you do this mid-combo to continue the combo string. So you punch 4 times, square, 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 and then you hold square up or square down or left or right. And similar to rush chains, if you perform the same smash attack twice within a combo, it'll knock the enemy away. So you can do bing, 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 smash up, bing, 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 smash left, bing, 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 down, and so on. And therefore, smash attacks by holding square in a certain direction, and rush chains using triangle are the
Yeah.
the foundation of melee combos. What you're seeing on screen right now is me combining as many rush chains and smash attack chains using smash attacks. It'll knock the enemy away. So you can do bing, 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 smash up, bing, 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 smash left, bing, 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 down, and so on. And therefore, smash attacks by holding square in a certain direction, and rush chains using triangle are the foundation of melee combos. What you're seeing on screen right now is me combining as many rush chains and smash attacks as I can, running through all the different variations of these combos. Now, a simple and basic way to extend or continue your combo string system is to step in. You press X and short dash inwards. In Sparking Zero, you're allowed to do this multiple times. You can also dash side to side. Some characters are faster than others, and it's always fun to put their moves on someone and break their ankles. So if you combine all that together, this is how you're able to get up to 40, 50 plus hit combos. Although, listen, honestly, don't be expecting to do this in higher level battles. This is not typical. Like, you're gonna have to switch it up and adapt, because there's going to be counter after counter after counter in more high level battles. You're typically not going to get 40 hits off on a good player, and especially not against the high level AI fighting against the game. Which is why you shouldn't necessarily get caught up with how long you can extend your combo. What truly matters is the damage. All that matters is the damage, baby. So performing shorter but destructive combos is much more effective than long combos, because the longer it goes on, the more room the enemy has to counter you. I mean, check this. That long ass combo right there only did 10k damage. I mean, you could easily do 10k damage with half as many hits, much quicker with more efficient combos. So definitely keep that in mind. Which brings me to my next topic: tips for the defense and counter system. So the core mechanics of the counter system are
Excuse me. I just feel like so far he hasn't really explained. He's like, oh man, I'm going to get more advanced as it goes on, and I'm sitting there waiting for it to get more advanced. No, it doesn't.
Are perception, evading with a vanish, super counters, and revenge counters. Vanishes and perception. Tell you right off the bat, the most important counters here are the vanishes and perception. If you're a beast at vanishing and using perception, then you are good. The reason that vanishes or Z counters are the #1 most effective and most often used defensive technique is because, well, firstly, it places you right behind the enemy, punching them in the back exactly where you want to be. But mostly because you can easily vanish a majority of attacks. Like, at any point in time when the enemy vanishes, you can also counter that with your own vanish. I mean, you're typically not going to vanish mid-combo like this when you're getting punked up. You're not going to vanish one of these. However, if they dash, if they switch up or reset their combos in between using different moves, especially if they're smacking you around, that's when you can vanish. Also, vanishing is probably the best way to counter or evade if you are taking it from behind. Pause. Now the next counter is perception. You can use this in preparation for an attack, preemptively holding the pose, hoping to anticipate and bait the enemy in so you can deflect their engaging strike. So I like to think of it like perception, preparation, preemptive, predicting, all the P words there. This is a very valuable tool if you get good at baiting and predicting enemy attacks. However, you can also use perception like a perfect parry. If you time it just right, you'll perform a badass Ultra Instinct move, Sonic Sway, where you move and weave and counter with a strong attack. And this can also be done mid-combo if you are blocking. So if you're holding down guard, blocking their attacks, you can use perception to perform this Ultra Instinct move if you counter at the proper time. And moving on, we have super counters. Now this is where you press up and square pretty much any time. Majority of attacks can be super countered. However, this is most notably known for being used when you are actively being attacked. So in the middle of an enemy's combo, if you time it right, you can perform a super counter and knock them off. Quick tip though, don't hold up and mash square. No, you need to tap up and square together just once at the proper time. If you mash in it and you miss, it's not gonna work. You're fucking yourself up. You can't mash those buttons, man. You gotta be more graceful. And remember, you must counter as the attack lands. This isn't like, Elden Ring, where you are parrying the moment just before the attack hits. No, here, we want to impart the counter just right as the attack lands. Staying aware of that has helped me tremendously. So in my opinion, lightning attack is pretty damn good. This is when you press circle after smacking the enemy around, and it'll kick slam downwards into the ground. Plus, this works after every knockback, whether it's random combos, vanishing assault, charged heavy attack. Anytime you perform a knockback, you can press circle and boom, get an easy extra 1 to 2k damage. I also like it because you end up right on top of the enemy, allowing you to keep up that pressure and stay aggressive. Dive right into your next attack. And if you're low enough to smash them into the ground, it provides a great opportunity to follow up with a super attack. A simple but underrated tip, re-watch your games. If you want to get good like the pros, go back and
He said underrated tip, and it's like, bro, literally everyone in the fighting.
Goku and Vegeta that you like. It just ain't happening. They are distinguished by the eras they are from. So early, and GT, Super, both Goku and Vegeta must be from the same era. And only then can you transform into whatever makes sense for the lore. It's so thorough with this that some fusions must be done in particular forms, such as Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. And finally, a cool little detail about GT Goku in base form. Typically, some characters will perform a flurry of kicks. However, little monkey boy here, he instead uses his tail to perform this flurry attack. A monkey tail flurry right in the face, boy. That's just disrespectful, man. It probably don't even hurt that bad. That's just rude.
He's not watched Dragon Ball before. He has not watched Dragon Ball before.
Alright.
Bro, when Goku got pinned down during the tournament and used his tail, he was like fucking destroying. Or no, it wasn't even during the tournament. I think it was when General Tao grabbed him, like on all of his limbs, then he used his tail to beat the shit out of him.
Alrighty, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a
A lot of people.
Are you tired of the back shots? Are you tired of getting attacked from behind? Are you tired of being abused to all recognition? Well, I'm here to show you guys how to counter the back shots. Jokes aside, what you're gonna want to do is go into training mode.
This just sounds really silly because he didn't do any cuts or anything.
From here, go into opponent settings and change your strategy to smash, attack, and follow-up swap.
I'm starting to find that if you don't have background music, it doesn't sound as good. Like if you're just hearing all the in-game shit.
One, you can either do 2 or 3 as well, just to practice those. So the skill sets that you're going to be focusing on in this is Z counters and super counters.
I'm gonna see how this one's going.
What's up, everybody? I'm Dear Gamer. Welcome back to the channel today. We're back to more Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. And
ASMR, holy shit.
My other video. One, thank you guys so much for the support. Our first video of Dragon Ball How to Teleport and Counter was trending on YouTube, number 19. Got over 100K views on it. Thank you so much for the support.
Holy
so
shit.
now I'm back with some video that's the #1 hottest thing on the streets right now in this game is countering back shots. Are you tired of back shots? Yes, you are. And now the biggest thing is, how do I get out of it? There's a lot of videos online talking about different strategies. And I'm gonna be honest with you, there is no easy way to get out of back shots. So now, what can I do? So one of the options I can do is I can take a beating for 2 cycles of the attack, then I could guard and move out the way. Boom. So then I can move on that second hit. That second hit, but you're gonna get beat down for 2 straight rounds. So you don't want that. You're like, I don't want to get beat down and offer up all that free health. Can't teleport out. Now you can move. See? Now you can move. So now that's one of the ways to get out of it. The second way you want to get out of it is to not put yourself in that position at all. And what I would recommend is just making sure you have enough ki. Because, hold on. So he's going to teleport. Wait, let him finish his cycle. So the goal is not to put ourselves in that position in the first place. What can we do? Is just teleport out of it as well. Now the problem is you're going to have a good amount of spirit gauge to be super counters. And everyone knows super counters are super tight in this game. That's like I did super counter right there. If you're getting attacked from behind, super counters still work. So that's going to be your saving grace. Tight in this game. That's like I did super counters. And everyone knows super counters are super tight in this game. That's like I did super counter right there.
What the forward fucking X? Or forward
this
square?
is the last resort. If you decide, you know what, I can't do the super counter, I'm just gonna take the beating. I'm gonna prepare myself with a little bit of ki to make sure I can go through and fight. What I would do is when you get to the second rotation where I normally guarded, I would just do a vanishing attack and get yourself out the way and hit the enemy. So let me the chain start over again. So okay, hold on, let's start the chain over. Come down here. Boom. And at that point,
Like he doesn't understand how to play the game. That's crazy. I'm gonna cry. The only way to get out of it is to do the thing that was already told, which is forward square.
Super counters are the thing that allow you to attack or defend when you're being attacked from behind. This is going to allow
I kind of want to like get the training stuff inside of the game and just make videos about them, because I feel like everyone isn't doing training. Can't believe Typhlosion needs to be in jail. Okay. I'll be back later. I'm gonna do some dishes and just try to like wake the F up. But I don't want to have the stream just running. So I'll be back. So